Why did I do psychology? Nobody knows. So, hello, my name is Saskia and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a first year psychology student at the University of Southampton, and I thought I would talk you through the course, I guess, in first year, because I'm not technically finished. I have an exam, but I've learned all of the content, so I would say I'm done. I did this video for semester 1, and I was going to do it for semester 2, but then I thought I might as well just do like an entire year overview rather than doing one for semester 2 and then doing like my experience, because I'm going to do my experience at uni first year in general and just like briefly do the course. But then here I thought people that are coming to uni might be interested specifically in this course. So yeah, this will not be psychology in general, this will be psychology at the University of Southampton. So if you're not looking at the University of Southampton, you know, this might give you an idea of what kind of modules you might do in a degree, but it's not going to be the modules you do, because basically in order for your degree to be BPS accredited, so BPS, British Psychological Society, you need to take kind of specific modules, but they're different across places. Like you need to take stats modules, but your stats module will not have to be the exact same title. Like you'll still cover the same things, but it might be kind of, you know, in a different term or with a different name or covered in a slightly different way, but it will still have the kind of main key spec points, like in GCSE. Like we all have different exam boards, that kind of thing is with different unis. Like you learn the same main topics, but you learn them differently. So I'll basically go over structure of the course. Okay, I'll start with like entry requirements and like, I don't know, maybe why I applied, I don't know. And then have a look at the modules, the examinations, contact hours, that kind of thing. So if that does sound like it might be helpful for you, then, you know, stick around, come and watch basically. So first of all, entry requirements are currently, you know, Southampton like to change things up on me when I make a video, but currently AAA, and they require a science. So your science can literally be like physics, I'm pretty sure. Most common sciences that kind of come into psychology would be maths, biology and psychology itself, but I think your science can be literally like chemistry, physics, like you just need one science. But yeah, entry requirements are typically AAA. If you're doing the IB, I'm not sure how many points it is. If you're doing a BTEC, it's triple distinction. If you do an EPQ with your A-levels though, you tend to get a reduced offer of AAB, and you need an A in your EPQ, or you can get a contextual offer, so you might get ABB or AAB or BBB because you live in a low achieving area, I think is what a contextual offer means. I know some people that got contextual offers, but I didn't press them on it because I was like, I don't really want to. Yeah, those are the offers. Pretty bog standard. I think all of the places I applied for psychology were AAA, apart from King's College London was A-star AA. But everywhere else I looked at was AAA, and kind of same for BTEC, same for IB. That's the general entry requirements for a psychology degree. So, why did I do psychology? Nobody knows. I didn't know what to study. I enjoyed psychology at the IB, and I didn't want to do biology. That's kind of why, because I was like, right, biology was probably my favourite subject, but I didn't want to do a degree in it because I don't like a lot of the topics. Like I didn't enjoy doing really genetics that much. I didn't really enjoy doing bacteria, evolution, ecology, those kind of things were not my thing, and I knew I would have to do them. Whereas in psychology, even though it wasn't my favourite subject at the time, I enjoyed all of it. There was no part of psychology that I was like, this is awful, I could never do this. Whereas with biology, loads of biology is on cancer as well, and the biology of cancer doesn't really interest me. Like, I feel like it might interest me in the future, but at the point of choosing degrees, I had no interest in learning about cancer, and I also didn't know what I could do with a biology degree. I was like, if I get a biology degree, I work in lab or I become a teacher. Whereas a psychology degree I think is more versatile, flexible, that kind of thing. Like, you know, you can become a teacher, you can become a clinical psychologist, educational, health, social, you can do research. Like, it's a degree that loads of employers are kind of happy to have. Like, they're happy to take you with a psychology degree because it will probably be beneficial in some way. So I chose it because I was good at it at A-level, I was good at it in the IB. It was easy. And I was kind of interested in it. It's quite interesting. I like people watching, I like learning things, and I think psychology is a good kind of combination of information, essentially. So now I've got notes on the modules because I remember what we did, but I don't remember what we did in them. So I thought I would talk you through. So we'll start with semester 1. So semester 1 is from October until January. So you go home for Christmas, you come home back from Christmas, and you have another week of lectures, which doesn't make any sense to me. And then you have January exams. And then you start semester 2, February, and you finish May-ish, around that time. I think each semester is like 14 weeks. Each term is 10 weeks, there's 3 terms, and semesters are like maybe 14. That's a complete guess, I haven't got a clue if I'm being honest. So semester 1. First module I'm going to talk about is Intro to Psych. Boring. So because you don't have to have studied psychology to get into a psychology degree, Intro to Psych is basically the very beginner psychology. As in, if you haven't studied psychology before, it will be helpful. Like, it will teach you the core concepts, the core cognitive things like memory, like social psych, a little bit of clinical, a little bit of health, but mostly kind of just a general introduction into psychology. So if you haven't done psych, very good for you, very useful. If you have done psych, just feels like the first year of A-levels or the IB, but again, it's just reintroduction to memory, reintroduction to social identity theory, social cognitive theory, classical conditioning, different approaches in psychology, and then at the end you do a tiny bit of clinical, a tiny bit of developmental, and a tiny bit of health, which are all areas that you might have studied but are not kind of commonly studied. So you do a bit of everything. It could be an interesting module. I feel like if I hadn't done psychology before, it would be useful. But if I hadn't done psychology before, I wouldn't have done a psychology degree because I wouldn't have wanted to kind of take a chance on a degree almost, like if I didn't know I could like it. So if you've done psychology before, Intro to Psych is quite relatively simple. Difficult, there's a little bit of perception and visual perception, visualization, that kind of thing that is a little bit challenging, a little bit confusing, and that is something that you probably will not have done in sixth form. Like, almost certainly you won't have done vision. So yeah, that was a little bit hard, but the overall module I would say is relatively easy. It's not kind of got any hugely difficult concepts. It's not the worst. It's not very entertaining. It's just, you just need it. It's just the absolute kind of basic information. Didn't enjoy it, but potentially valuable. So assessment wise for that, we had 2 posters which were in groups. Don't get me started. We're not talking about that. It was awful. But I think non-COVID times, you do a multiple choice test. So we did like a mock exam where we basically had, we had 1 question and then 4 answers, and it was ticky boxes. It was which one of these is correct, and that was your final grade essentially, or a mock grade. I don't know in the non-COVID times if that is 100% of your grade or not, but that is what we did. It's not the hardest thing, but it's also not very fun. I kind of enjoy things like essays because you can have a lot more like freedom with them, whereas this was just kind of sit for half an hour, tick the boxes, are you correct, are you incorrect. It was okay. So for that we had 1 contact hour a week. We had lectures that went up for an hour, then we had a 1 hour live lecture. So 2 hours of stuff, 1 hour of physical kind of live stuff. So then we have thinking psychologically. This is basically, like, it sounds like it could be good, but it's not really. It's basically a tutor group. So you get assigned a tutor group, and thinking psych is your tutor module. So you get taught it by your tutor. It's not really like information in psychology. It's kind of how to reference, how to write a uni essay, but it's also, you don't actually really get taught how to do any of that stuff. Yeah, like we kind of look at like growing when you're at uni, that kind of rubbish, but you don't really kind of learn much. It's very much a relaxing one. It's 1 hour on a Friday was for me. Simple. Didn't like my tutor group, so it could have been much better. But for this, we were assessed in. We had to do summative work, which was like a reflective piece. Like at the beginning, we said, "Oh, I really want to develop my creativity," and then at the end, we were like, "Oh, I did not develop my creativity." You had to write 500 words for that, or you failed, or you got capped at 40, I think, if you didn't do them, but they weren't worth anything. And then you also had to write an essay. So we got to choose a question, kind of out of selection of 3 that our tutor gave us. We wrote a 1,500 word essay. Then we did a presentation as a group on that essay. And I'm pretty sure that is something that is always there, non-COVID times. I think that is how you are assessed. So yeah, individual essay was really nice. I really liked that. It was the first essay we wrote at uni, and it was also the best essay I've written at uni grade-wise. So yeah, I did well in that module. And presentation was okay. I didn't like my group, but the process of it was kind of easy. Like it's not a difficult topic. It's just hard to work in a group. So yeah, that was thinking psych. It was okay. It's not interesting and you don't really learn much, but you don't need it. Like, I'm pretty sure they're supposed to teach you how to write a university essay. And like, we looked through like 3 examples of university essays and we had to pick which one was good. But I don't think that's teaching. I don't know. It didn't feel like I learnt. Whereas in Intro to Psych, even if it was kind of uninteresting, I felt like I learnt content rather than nothingness. Then we have research methods and data analysis 1. So this is your introduction to stats. So yeah, semester 1 starts off with a bang with stats, and it's not the good stats. Not that there is really good stats, but it's not interesting. It's hard. Hardest module of semester 1 easily. 2 contact hours a week. You get some recorded content put out, then you go to a live for 2 hours, and you basically learn maths. So at the very beginning, it was like super introduction. It was, mean, median, mode, range, measures of dispersion, that kind of thing. Then it was like validity, reliability, types of experimental control, like your basic research methods. And then in kind of the second half of semester 1, it was maths. Like maths. It was binomial distribution, t-tests, z-scores, confidence intervals, and SPSS. I think that's it. It was a nice selection of stuff. And for this we did a research proposal, which was kind of on the first half of the content. So like validity, ethics, that kind of thing. And then we did a computational task where you basically got a set of 6 maths questions and you basically just did them. It was relatively easy. The research proposal was kind of okay, but it was as a group, so my opinions on that one. But it was, it could have been worse. Could have. It was okay. Research method, the module itself wasn't very interesting. The assessment methods I found fine. Like, I don't think you'll find it challenging. And if you haven't done maths before, I hadn't done maths since GCSE, and I found it okay. Like, there were moments, trust me, I had my moments when I was like, I don't understand maths, I don't know what's going on, but I got it. Like, you'll be fine. Because basically, you need a B at maths, well, a 6 or B at maths GCSE to be allowed onto the course. So if you got that, you'll be fine. It's not particularly horrible, it's not fun, it's the worst module, definitely, but if you do a little bit of revision, not even that much, I literally wrote out kind of almost a cheat sheet with all my formula on it, because you're allowed the formula, you don't have to memorise them, you will get given formula, don't worry about that one. But I kind of wrote myself out like a nice kind of poster of everything, and it was fine, it was easy, no issues with that. Then we have psychology of attractiveness, which is definitely the most interesting module in semester 1. If you are doing psych with something or psych and something, this is the module you don't do. So if you're doing psych with education, psych with criminology, psych with law, those kinds of things, this is the module you don't do. This is the minor module. So if psychology is your major and then like law is your minor, you would do a law module instead of psychology of attractiveness, which, because it's like not a core one, I don't think it's one that you need to be BPS accredited, but it's the most interesting one because content is interesting, lecturer is nice, it's definitely the best one by far. For this, you learn about relationships, attractiveness, why we're attracted to people, evolutionary explanations for attractiveness, cultural explanations, biological explanations, what attractiveness is, physical explanations. We look at cyber relationships and then why relationships end and why, like how to maintain them. So it's actually interesting content. Like out of the 4 modules in semester 1, this is the one that most people paid attention to. Most people came to the live lectures because the live lectures, not many people turned up apart from for psychology of attractiveness when we had most of the class there. Not all like 250, but we did have around 200 or 150 most of the time. So for this, you would get like 1 hour of recorded content. You would watch this. You would also have key reading. For the other ones, there's no key reading. For this one, you had 1 psychology paper per week. It's not difficult. The first time you ever kind of go to do key reading, it's a bit like, what do I write down? What do I look at? But you kind of just know almost once you get in there. Like, read the abstract, it will tell you what you need to know. Read the introduction and read the discussion. I pretty much don't read the method, the results, because I don't know enough about stats to understand them, like the results, and I don't care what they did in the method, really. Like, you don't really need to know that. So yeah, you have key reading and supplemental reading. So key reading has to be done. Supplemental reading is just if you want to know more about the topic, like if you're interested, which some people are, but not to the point of key reading, not to the point of extra reading, essentially. So yeah, this was a good module. You are assessed, like, it's a 1 chunk assessment. Like all of the other ones, it was kind of 50-50, or like, you know, 30-70, 60-40, that kind of thing with 2 assignments. This one, 99% of it, 92% of it or something like that is basically on a final assessment. So in an assessment period, you get a video or a article or like a letter or something, and you have to basically read them and explain or answer a question with psychology. So it'll be like, should the relationship carry on? And you'll be like, right, let me go and have a look at this theory. Should the relationship carry on? Is the relationship doing well? That kind of basic information. So I would say that's pretty much semester 1. Not the most interesting. Worst module, research methods. Best module, psychology of attractiveness. But still, the whole semester's not the most fun, I don't think. It wasn't my semester, it wasn't one I enjoyed the most. I've definitely preferred semester 2 to semester 1. Not hugely, but I would say enough. It's not too difficult, I would say it's a good introduction to psychology. It kind of prepares you for semester 2. It helps you get everyone on an even playing field. Because if I've done psychology, biology and maths, I would be up here. If someone's done French, physics and history, they would be like here, because they haven't done the biology that you need, the maths that you need, and then the psychology that you need to kind of even. So the degree first semester is basically to get everyone on the same point. So then we have semester 2, which is what I'm doing now. Well, I'm about to finish. I'm going to say we're finished. We have research methods 2. So this is research methods and data analysis. Oh no, this is research methods and empirical studies. So you don't do the data analysis bit, which means it's easy. This was my favourite module of semester 1. No, this was my favourite module of semester 2. Lecturers were phenomenal. All of the lectures were engaging. I would watch all of the videos. I loved the content. I loved it. Best module in first year. Absolutely best module in first year. But you do a tiny bit of stats. You do a Man Whitney and a Nan Over. And then the rest of it is all kind of how to write a psychology report. So if you've done the IB and you've done an IA, it's basically teaching you how to do a big IA, like a proper one. And then you get assessed by doing a research proposal and a proper report. So It's really good. I love it. You get like 1 hour of videos per week, and you had 1 hour of a live lecture. The live lectures were entertaining, like they were engaging, they were all really good. They would answer all your questions, they would reply to your messages. Like the lecturers, if you messaged them on Teams, they would reply quickly. Like they would help you if you needed help, which some of them wouldn't. So yeah, best lecturers in whole of first year, best module whole of first year. Yeah, that's my favourite module. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss the lecturers as well, because I never really looked forward to lectures, but I looked forward to that one, and I felt a little bit sad when we finished it. So then we have behavioural neuroscience. This is where it's biology. So it's pure biology. There's no kind of, you know, psychology in it. Well, okay, psychology has biology in it, but it's a biology module. So if you haven't done biology at A-level or IB or whatever, you will struggle at the beginning, because it's getting used to going from a very simplistic explanation at GCSE, which is just cells have DNA, DNA is made of bases, it's in a helix, to these are the bases, these are the bonds that attach the bases. If you have a mutation on, you know, the codon, like you learn all of these new words. So I know people probably struggled with this module the most, because it was the biggest jump. Everything else is kind of, you know, you're kind of going up like that, whereas behavioural neuroscience, people have done GCSE biology, missed out this step, and then kind of plopped up to here. Like, it's understandable, but it takes a little bit more time if you've not done it. I found it quite easy. Like, I found it relatively simple, and it's the interesting biology, I would say. It's all kind of actual. It's the bits of biology that are interesting. It's human biology, it's neurobiology, it's you know, synaptic terminals, drug reuptake. And then you do like schizophrenia, anxiety, addiction. You do loads of different disorders, and it is good. So our first assessment for this was short answer questions. So we got 10 short answer questions, and we had to write an answer in 250 words or less. And then the assessment that I've just done was a 1,000 word essay on the last like 3 or 4 weeks of content. So just on the disorders. So it was anxiety, addiction, Alzheimer's and schizophrenia, and depression maybe, something like that. It's like the application part in an essay. So the assessment that you do the essay is psychology, but you need to explain it biologically, if that makes any sense. And for behavioural neuroscience, you would have, at the beginning, for the first section of it, we had a 1 hour video put up, and then we would have 2 hour live. And then in the second half, we just had a 2 hour live. We had no video put up. He would go through it like it was a in-person lecture, I'm assuming, and that format wasn't for me. I know that's how it's going to be in real life, but it wasn't something I particularly enjoyed. But that was behavioural neuroscience. Most people hate it, but it's something you've got to do. You have to do biology in a psychology degree, because it's part of it. You know, biology affects a lot of your behaviour, so it's just something that... But yeah, then we have individual differences. So individual differences is split into personality and intelligence. Personality takes up the biggest section, intelligence is a small section, and it's okay. It's not wildly interesting, but it's a good foundation, I guess. You basically learn about like the biological basis of personality, like Freud's theories of personality. Who else did we look at? You look at loads of different theories of why we have our personalities, and like the different personality types. So like Myers-Briggs, the Big Five, all of that kind of thing. And then you look at intelligence, so you look at how intelligence is measured, differences in genders and races, and that's about it, I think. I don't really remember. I didn't love it, okay? It was not my favourite module, but it was tolerable. And for this one I think we had 1 hour of videos that was put up, and then we would have between 2 and 3 hours of lectures. So we would always have 2 hours on a Monday, and then sometimes we would have 1 hour on a Wednesday morning. So it was like every month we had an extra hour or something like that. There's a lot of content, but it's not crazy difficult content to like understand. So it's an okay module. Like it's not a huge jump kind of psychology wise in terms of the amount of knowledge you have or anything like that. And then it is basically assessed in dumb ways. One assessment's fine. One assessment is an essay, 1,200 words on, you either have a structure question or a nature versus nurture question, I think. And you can either do it on personality or intelligence, but you get set this when you've not studied intelligence. So we hadn't started intelligence, or we'd done lesson 1 of intelligence, and they're like, here's a question, you can do personality or intelligence, but we've not taught you intelligence. I did intelligence, and I know someone's going to be like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. I did intelligence at 6th form, and it was easy, and I liked it. I hated what we did on personality, it wasn't interesting to me, so I did intelligence, but it was just a bit of a weird kind of question. So you basically had to either say whether like intelligence or personality was more nature or more nurture, and then the other question that you could choose was basically whether it made sense to organise personality in like a periodic table kind of thing. It was a bit, I didn't understand it, a bit very weird question. But then you also get corrections for your essay. So I've had feedback on my essay, and you then have to do a corrections sheet, which is worth 13%, and it's basically like, if you missed a comma, you put in the sentence and you put the comma in. If your conclusion didn't make sense, you fix your conclusion, that kind of thing. Then, the stupid assessment, I think, multiple choice questions, and no, not sitting them, not like you would expect, making them. And I know this is kind of relevant in psychology, because you have to make your own scales and questions, but like, it just didn't make sense in first year for me. It's not something we know about very much, and you had to write one question for each like week of content or each point. So we made 20 questions on like each, we made one question per point, and you basically have to hand that in. I don't know what a question warranting a first is going to look like, or a question warranting a 2-2 is going to look like, but I've not got my grade back for that, but I'm not expecting anything because I have no idea how to do it. I think it was a very weird task, and I did not enjoy it at all. I think it was awful. So then finally in semester 2 we have psychology of mental health. So this is the module that you don't do if you are doing a minor in another subject. So this is your optional module. You pick this module essentially. So you could pick, something from your minor. You could pick the psychology option, which was this. You could pick a language. You could pick criminology. So yeah, psychology of mental health. It's basic mental health. Biological model, psychological model, how do you diagnose mental health, what are the symptoms, and we looked at 3 different disorders. We looked at schizophrenia, Alzheimer's or dementia, and depression. It was okay. It was very basic. It didn't feel like a big step up from the IB, like at all. It basically felt like what we did in the IB, which was not a level 4 thing, so don't really understand that one, but yeah. And for this we had 1 hour of pre-recorded content put out, then a 1 hour live lecture, which was okay. The live lectures were never that helpful, if I'm going to be totally honest. And how were we assessed? Oh, for this one we were assessed in a weird way. We had to do, for like 30%, I think, we had like a blog post. Someone wrote in, and they're like, oh, my friend's boyfriend broke up with them and they're feeling sad. Is this depression? Or, oh, my friend is hearing voices. Is this schizophrenia? And we basically had to be therapists, clinical psychs, without knowing how to be a clinical psych. And it was 500 words and it felt very weird. Didn't enjoy it, didn't really understand how I could have done a good answer. Like, my answer wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. Like, I didn't really understand it. And then our second assessment is an essay, and we get 2 questions. It'll be like, how is observational research used in mental health, that kind of thing. And we have 1,500 words, I think, and that's worth like 70%. So it's not like a 50-50 split on this one, it's much more. Your final essay is worth a lot more, which is nice because I normally do better in actual essays, not 500 word little texty things. Those are the modules in first year. That is what you do. Do I have any recommendations? No. Do I have any recommendations? In stats, when you get taught something, do it. Like, if you get taught something in SPSS, go and run the SPSS test. Like in stats, you don't really get homework, but you would kind of sometimes get set like, here is some data you can play with. Play with the data. Go and check you can click all these buttons because you're going to need to later in the degree, and also when you do a psychology kind of proper experiment real life stuff, you're going to have to do that. Another thing, you have research credit. So in semester 1 you need 96 research credits, and in semester 2 you need 106, and you basically go on a website called eFolio. They'll show you all of this, well, hopefully, and you basically have to take part in research studies to get credits to pass the course. So they are worth like 10% in total across the whole, a whole of semester 1. You get 2.5% in each module for each chunk of credits that you do. So if you only got, if you got 92 credits and you had to get 94, you would only get 7.5%. Like you get 2.5% in three modules, and then you wouldn't get the 2.5% in the other module. So when you kind of came to do your total grade, it is slightly dependent on these 2.5%. They're nice. Getting the credits is so easy. Do not leave them till the end. As soon as the portal opens, do all the studies. It took me about a day to get 100 credits and I was done. Like, it doesn't take long. It's very easy. It's an easy 2.5% for all your modules. Like, I don't know why people don't do it or would be happy to not get the 2.5% when it's such an easy thing to get. It doesn't make any sense to me. But the biology is kind of hard, A psychology degree has more biology than you might expect. It also has more maths than you might expect. You're mainly assessed in essays, so make sure you can write an essay. Also, a sixth form essay is not the equivalent of an A-level of a degree essay, so don't just, in your first ever essay, copy out what you would have written for like a 16 marker and like double that, because it's not it's kind of yes, but also kind of no. Learn how to reference and cite. Go on, Google Scholar. Get that to reference for you. Don't reference yourself. What else have we got? Pay attention, I guess. If you're going to be in person, make real notes, because exams will be in person as well, so it will be actually difficult. Make proper notes. Revise. Treat it like your A-levels. Do it. It's just A-levels again, basically, but a little bit harder. And also, lots of people say the step up to uni is like awful. I disagree. I don't know if that's just my degree, I don't know if that's just my university, but I think the step from A-levels, IB, BTEC, that, a level 3 qualification to a level 4 in first year is not big at all. The stuff that we did in Intro to Psych is beginner. The stuff we did in Psychology of Mental Health is also, year 12 kind of content. Like, it's not, it kind of just feels like year 13 content. It just feels like you're kind of redoing sixth form, but with a bit more depth. Not necessarily harder, but just you get given more information essentially. So pay attention, learn things, revise, ask your lecturers questions, because it's their job to answer your questions. Some of them won't reply, that's fine. Ask the teaching assistants, ask the PhD students or the postgraduates, because they will actually be useful, whereas some of the lecturers don't reply to your emails and they're not particularly helpful. And some of them change their mind a lot and they're not particularly helpful on that one either, so yeah. I think that's what I have to say. It's been a good year. Doesn't really feel like I've been at uni, but that's kind of the online aspect rather than the course. It's not different from what I expected in terms of the content at all. It's the content I expected to see, it's the content I expected to be doing, and it's not different from what I thought at all. Like, I know loads of people go to uni and they're really shocked because, they see something that, like, they didn't expect it to be such a big jump, or they didn't expect to study this kind of thing, but it's exactly what I thought we would be studying. I don't know if that's just because I actually looked at the modules before I came to uni. Like, those people don't look at modules before they pick a uni, which makes no sense to me. I picked my uni based on the modules. Like, if I could pick an optional module, I was more likely to go to that uni because I actually can pick my own degree. Like, some of the unis I looked at, you could only pick your modules in third year. I was like, I don't want to sit and do 2 years of content that I might hate just because there's a really nice optional module in third year. Like, I'd much rather be able to more kind of tailor my degree to me, do the things I actually want to study. So yeah, that is everything. That is you know, first year psychology, it's good. I recommend. It's definitely, I mean, obviously I can't talk for other courses, but from the courses that I looked at, it's the best course, definitely, because you can pick optional modules, and the modules are, they're to my liking. I appreciate them. So yeah, I don't know if this will have been helpful to anyone, but I hope it was, and if it was, let me know. You know, if you have any questions about first year psychology, either leave them in the comments or message me on Instagram, which a lot of you do already. And yeah, I hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope everyone has a lovely weekend whenever I upload this. Yeah. This is